I do want to talk about Star Wars Theory. He's one of the biggest content creators, but he's just a fan like everyone else. And I just feel that all fans, they're allowed to have their own opinions, and we're allowed to disagree. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all passionate about Star Wars, and all fans should be allowed to express themselves, what we like and what we dislike. And if we disagree, well, then leave it at that. I don't agree with Star Wars Theory on a lot of things. He's very much a proponent for the prequel trilogy and those stories, and there are stories that he likes that I just don't like. And again, I just feel like that's normal for a lot of Star Wars fans. There are just certain things, just because something has Star Wars in the title, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to connect with you. And for me as well, there's just certain stories and certain timelines and certain characters that I like more than others. But this tweet was blowing up. He does these watch parties, and he was doing it for Andor, and he got tons of backlash for this. And he's already gotten tons of backlash just for his previous opinions on Andor season 1. That's not the kind of story that resonates with him. He gets so much hate just for expressing his opinions that he's entirely entitled to, just like all of us are. But this was the tweet that blew up initially. This was his initial gut reaction to the violent content that was showcased in episode 3. Essay in Star Wars feels unnecessary. You can portray power dynamics and making the audience hate the Empire in other ways without taking it to such a disgusting place. Vader wouldn't tolerate that, nor does the Empire condone it. It has no place in Star Wars, period, unnecessary. Personally, I don't like to see fans attack each other for their opinions. I don't know, he decided to share his opinion online, so that's just what's going to happen. You're going to get backlash. I remember a tweet that I had saying Jedi are the good guys, and I got tons of hate for that. I don't like exactly how he's framing this. It's fine for him to say what he thinks should or should not belong in Star Wars. I don't know if it's articulated very well when it comes to what Vader would tolerate or what the Empire would condone. I have my own opinions too about what I think belongs in Star Wars or not. Star Wars at its best is accessible to everyone. And I don't think you have to approach it in a way that excludes any sort of demographic when starting out, Star Wars was for everybody. It appealed to male, females, young and old, and in between. That's Star Wars at its best, at its core. And I think the backlash was more of when it came to what Vader would tolerate. To give him the benefit of the doubt, I think that there are certain circumstances, and of course he's not omnipotent, so it would have to be a situation where Vader had direct control of any military operation. There is a precedent for Vader coming in to keep the troops in line. If there's any activity that would threaten the success of a military operation, Vader definitely wouldn't tolerate that. If the troops were participating in any other illicit activities that would impede their performance and success of a mission, can definitely see him cracking down on that. And we did see that in the movie in Return of the Jedi. He was coming to the second Death Star because they were behind on the timeline of the second Death Star's completion. They are definitely focused on discipline and efficiency. And in that respect, I can see why they would have a more firm hand when it came to their troops. I mean, it's not a great place to be for everybody in the Imperial lifestyle. It's not a utopia in there as well. Whoever's in charge of the second Death Star, he meets with him, and he's really trying to throw his weight around to complete the Death Star. The Imperial officer is giving an excuse that he needs more men. Well, the Emperor's coming, so you better complete it on time. Okay, well, we'll redouble our efforts when he learns that the Emperor's coming. And Darth Vader was there to be intimidating and to make sure that the troops did that to accomplish the goal, because the Emperor's coming too. But with Vader's presence, they would have definitely felt that urgency. The Empire put a premium on productivity and efficiency. There are situations and specific situations where I can see Vader exercising a firm hand. We've actually seen that too. Like when Imperial officers mess up the success of an operation, they are quickly dispatched as a lesson. The Emperor is not as forgiving as I am. But from a moral standpoint, I don't see that part. And I don't know if that's what he meant and didn't articulate it accurately. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Those actions, as far as keeping the troops in line and efficient, that's not from a moral standpoint. That's just from a point of they have a mission that they want to accomplish, and they will exercise whatever firm hand to get the job done. And if you make a mistake, you're going to pay for it with your life as a lesson to the others. Thrawn was like that too. And I think the point is that they're evil, but they're efficient. We can disagree and we can call each other out, but it reached such a degree for Star Wars Theory that he just had to announce and say he's not covering Andor anymore. And I think that's sad. I think fandoms are healthiest when we all can debate things in good faith. And that was another thing too, just in the spirit of what Star Wars Theory is saying here, certain acts of violence just don't seem to be in keeping with the spirit of how George Lucas handled these mature elements. And then a lot of people would just proceed to say all the atrocious acts that Darth Vader did do, and especially on that last point, addressing what Vader would tolerate. But I think that when people were upset about it, I just assume that everyone has seen the movies. If you're a Star Wars fan, you know what's in there. You know that there's murder and there's torture and there's slavery, there's decapitations and all that. I assume we all know that that exists, and that what people's issue was not the mature content itself. It was just how it was handled. What was the execution? Was it necessary? That's the crux of what I was seeing. People kind of getting tribal about it and not acting in good faith. And when it gets personal, that's when it goes too far for me. We can all disagree and we can remind like this stuff happens, so I don't think Vader would care and all that. But when it goes to personal insults, and I was seeing just a lot of personal attacks on him, I was getting that too. Again, for a very milquetoast and popular opinion that the Jedi are the good guys, I was getting personally attacked on that. And this was when the Acolyte was going on too. So I was getting a lot of people who were defending the Acolyte that were attacking me for that. We can have healthy debate in a way that doesn't alienate others. And that's why it was so nice actually to see the Revenge of the Sith doing so well in theaters and seeing fans engage with Star Wars in a very positive way and be reminded of simpler times, I guess. We can all have our different opinions. And there are things about Star Wars Theory's post here that I don't agree with, but I can give him the benefit of the doubt as far as some of these aspects. Other than that, yeah, we can disagree and it doesn't have to get personal. And it's unfortunate that it's reached the point where he just said he's not going to cover it anymore. And it's sad because I think it does get better. Not every opinion that we have about any IP, it doesn't have to be considered an attack on those who have a different opinion. Does everything that they make have to pit the fans against each other? Because, I mean, The Acolyte was that, and I had my opinions of it too, about how the Jedi should be portrayed at this time, about the Force. People just coming out of the woodwork to just hate on your opinions for that. I love healthy debates. I love talking about Star Wars, and that always seemed to be the case in the past. That used to be fun. Fans are entitled to their opinions, even if we disagree on a number of things. It's okay to like Andor and to not like it. It's okay to like The Mandalorian and not like it. It's okay to like Ahsoka and not like it. Agree to disagree is how fandoms are built.